being here. Thank you, Musa, for allowing us to do this. It's been years since we did fall events. We're kind of hoping that we'll begin doing fall conferences in the future so that we can actually do more of these kind of contests. And kicking it off by having as many volunteers to come in and participate in the showcase. And thank you all for being here. And it is my honor to introduce one of the people that I respect the most amongst our speakers, our qualified speakers. David Flores is a qualified speaker in District 12, a qualified speaker in District 100, a former Speakers Bureau chair, and most importantly, one of the more important speakers in my debate club. That's debatable. He has a great mind beside all of those speaking skills. David Flores, your MC for this evening.
Wish I gave more girls to do that one. When Tom asked me to do this, I'm thinking, Tom, sure, I'm not really that funny. In fact, I knew I was not funny early on in my life because I always tried to get class count in school. And the answer I always got from the teacher was, you're not funny, David, go stand on the hallway. So I learned early on that I'm not a funny person. And I can never think of funny things to talk about. Stories is one thing I'm not really good at. But I have to admit one thing. I talked to a friend of mine the other day telling me, you know, as I got older, I kept having these weird dreams. And occasionally I can remember these dreams. And as you get older, it seems like I always get towards the end of your life dreams. It's not funny. But there's one dream that I had that I told him about. He goes, you know, that's funny. I go, really? So I'll share it with you. You'd like to hear it?
Yeah.
Well, the dream goes like this. It starts off funny because I find myself up there in the sky by the pearly gates. How I got there is another question itself. But I'm standing there and I've been noticing there's this big, beautiful wall. And on this wall, there's little clocks, faces all filled up. And each wall had a country's name, Canada, United States, Mexico, Brazil, everything else. And on each wall I saw these clocks and I know there's names on them. And they're all in alphabetical order. So I was curious about what's this clock thing? There's an hour hand and a minute hand. Well, they explained to me that clock, every time that minute hand clicks, is when you have a sinful thought. Ooh. And what kind of thought is that? Because, well, just think about it. When you think a bad thing or think of something nice, you know, usually it's about the opposite sex, more likely. But it's not a good thing. So as I got closer, I saw the United States. And I'm thinking, well, where's my clock at? So I'm looking in alphabetical order and look, and I look, and I look, and I don't see my name. Well, maybe that's a good thing. And I haven't committed one sin at all, which is hard to believe in itself. So I got near the gate and I asked the person who's in charge. I noticed that I don't have a clock up on the wall. He goes, what's your name again? He goes, I'm Dave Flores. Oh, yeah, you got a clock. Really? Well, where's it at? All the office staff keeps it in their room. They use it as a fan. Again, I get it from the first place with the real question. But I want to apologize too. I meant to get here at 8 o'clock in the morning like everybody else does. But I come from Anaheim, so I was rushing to get here. And Tom had mentioned earlier that, you know, when you ask a question, it's hard to remember because as you get older, you have that short-term memory loss. So I'm coming along the road pretty well, and I get pulled over by the police officer just about 500 feet before the young lady in the radio told me to turn right in 500 feet. So I get stopped, and the officer says, where are you going? You seem to be in a hurry. I go, good question. Where am I going? I'm going to a Toastmasters function that's at this particular hospital. I can't remember the name, but the young lady in the radio is going to tell me how to get there. He goes, okay, well, I just appreciate it. You slow down a little bit and be careful with your driving. At that point, I'm going like, okay, what was it that she told me? So I have to make a U-turn. So the radio comes on and says, sir, please turn around and make a U-turn. I make the U-turn and finally get the directions I had before, turn right 500 feet. So that's the one thing about getting older is you cannot remember things. And if you get pulled over or you get stopped, and I get stopped in LA traffic, stop and go traffic, I constantly have to make a U-turn because by the time I get to the point where I was supposed to turn, I forgot I was supposed to turn. And she already updated me 100 feet ago, so I didn't remember. So, like I say, I'm not funny, so I'm going to get some people up here. What we're going to do is I'm going to call the individuals up by name. Well, I'd appreciate it if we have one person missing so far. But I call you by name, come stand in the order I I call your name in from this side that way so the audience can see from left to right, and they can write down their notes and know who you are. So, Cora Gunny. Van Powell here. Okay, cross that one off. Oops. Next name we have is Connie Jameson. I know she's here. Mr. Snyder. Never heard of him before. Roosevelt Young. Roosevelt going up. Edward Edenhausen. Ralph Dieter. Daryl Zeller. Luis Gomez. Luis here. I see a body moving. I believe that's him up there. Over there. No? Luis is not here? No Luis. Okay, let me get that out of the way. I'm not confused. Call somebody else the wrong name. Martha Edenhausen.
All right.
Erlinda Riez. Risa. Let me go back to my mind. I know that. Brian Porras. Juan Wang. I saw him earlier. There he is. Marianne Zeller. Okay, so we're only missing 3 out of 15. That brings us down to 12.
Dirty dozen.
All right. So there's only 12. That makes it a little easier for us. So, what I'm going to do to help you out with this large group, this reminds me of that time I was picked to be a chief judge, or not chief judge, one of the judges in Chicago, the international finals, and there were 10 contestants. Trying to judge 10 international speech contests, but you kind of get number 8 because they were so confused with the numbers you got on the speech. It's very difficult. What we're going to do this time around, see if you agree with me. If you don't agree with me, if you guys can say, well, it's too bad for the girls, I'll try to agree with you because I never can disagree with what the girls tell me. We'll do the first 6 contestants, okay? I'm going to give you, if our timer, give us about 45 seconds in between each speaker so you can give us some thought on how you want to look at that particular speaker. When I get to the first 6, I'm going to ask for 6, or for 2 minutes in between the first 6. That way you have an opportunity to kind of think it over about those first 6. Kind of pick, maybe you might think back the best person you felt in that group there. Then we'll go on to the next 6. And then 45 seconds between. You get to the end, you can make your mark balance. You probably have maybe 2 names that you might feel are the finalists that you might look at. Pick one name out of that group, of those people that you have, and that'll be your choice. You can turn that ballot in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Sound easier?
Yeah.
Good, I'm confused already. So with that, in the interest of time, since I have to be in Pasadena this evening, and hope I don't forget how to get there. This is your group. You ready to tickle your funny bone? Yes. All right. Well, make yourselves comfortable. We'll have everybody but our first speaker, Laura, stay up here.
All right.
We'll do it the official, unofficial way. You normally would see. So we'll start out with Laura Ghani, Adventures in Babysitting. Adventures in Babysitting. Laura Ghani.
Woo, thank you. Babysitter is my name. Babysitting is my game. How many of you have experienced babysitting jobs? Oh, quite a few. As for me, I grew up in the Philippines and my family hired help to do babysitting. So I had 0 experience in babysitting work. How many of you have paid for babysitting? Raise your hand. Quite a bit. It can get expensive, correct? And babysitting, even though I have no experience because I have no children, I know it needs a lot of love, a lot of patience and energy. I have a girlfriend, a close family friend. Her name is Elizabeth. She's a nurse. She has 1 daughter, Lady Noel is her name. and I'm the godmother. My girlfriend, Elizabeth, a single mom, works as a nurse. I want to help her in any way I can. So one day I was going to take a vacation to remodel my garage in one of my houses in Diamond Bar. So I said, I'm going to take vacation day. Would you want to save on babysitting expense? If you want, bring her over on my day off and I'll take care of her. And she said, oh, I love the idea. Of course. So the day came, she brought the baby. Now in my house, this is the front door, this is the garage door, so they're adjacent to each other. And then there's a big space in the entryway. So I felt that would be a perfect place for the playpen for Lady Noelle. At that time, just over a year old, but a big 1-year-old girl. If I place her there, as I go in and out of the garage to monitor the construction or the remodeling, she can see me, I can say hello to her, play with her a little bit. So the whole day, that's what I did. I fed her whatever food I ate, I played with her, I danced with her, and she was having a ball the whole day. 4 o'clock came. The mom came home, Elizabeth. She's so used to my house, so she went straight to the refrigerator, opened the refrigerator, and she started to scream, Cora, what did you do to my baby? What happened? What happened? At that point, I remembered something. The whole day, I would open my refrigerator. I would see the baby bottles of milk and juices. Didn't connect in my brain. That's for the baby. I would open and get a drink or get food to cook, and I fed her. Lady Noelle, the little baby, little girl, loved soup. I made soup for her. So that's what I fed her. She wasn't hungry. I didn't starve her. And so I said to Elizabeth, not to worry, she was fed all day. At which point I realized, oh no, she never cried all day. So I never checked on her diapers. Elizabeth looked at the baby. Lady Noelle changed the diaper. Ooh. Not a sight to see. It's all shriveled up. Obviously, she was upset. Elizabeth was upset. But she knew I love her baby. I'm the godmother after all. She knew I would not harm her baby. She knew I would really extend to her the best care possible. But too bad, Ninang, which is the term for godmother, didn't have babysitting experience. So she calmed down and we remained friends. Now, many months later, I really want my girlfriend to be happy. So I said, if you're gonna go on a date, go ahead. Just leave the baby with me overnight so you're not rushing home and the baby's not gonna be exposed to the elements. Perfect idea, she said. Okay. The day came, brought the baby to my house. We were about to sleep. And the baby kept on pointing at the door and saying, Mac, Mac. So I asked my husband, who's Mac? Is that the boyfriend? And my husband, I don't know. So the next day, Elizabeth came. And I said, Elizabeth, who's Mac? Is that your boyfriend? And she said, no. I said, your daughter kept on asking, Mac, 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 and pointing at the door. Cora, not again. She was asking for milk. But to show you, do we have it? I have a slide to show you. that she was fine. She grew up fine. She finished college. She got married. She had a baby boy. And I would have shown you a slide with the three of us. We're still friends. And they still love Ninang, the godmother. So this is my question to all of you. I don't charge. Would you hire me as your babysitter?
All right, 45 seconds, please. Have a timer. Those who remind remembrance of 5 second presentation. Don't think that I would be hired as a babysitter either. Even though I do have proof my daughter's alive. Since I'm a grandfather now. I don't want to get old my granddaughter's alive. Give it some thought about that presentation so you can mark it wherever in your mind and how you want it to be used. Count on your fingers, on your toes, however you want to do it. You can use the cross.
Nurse, could you reduce the microphone to the back of your bedroom?
Can't hear me back there? That's the first one. My apologies, I'm not used to using the microphone usually, I can protect my voice. But, thank you, appreciate that. 45 seconds is up, okay, here we go. Our second speaker coming today is Connie Jameson. Excuses, Connie Jameson.
Excuses, excuses, excuses. Yes, I know, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, honored guests. I know I should just step up and accept the fault that I have. The fault of fighting the battle of the bulge. It is difficult though, because my excuses are what I personally think are some of my positive attributes. For example, first, I try to always be a caring and kind person to everyone. When I go to a potluck dinner, I make sure that I take some of every person's dish. I would feel terrible if someone's feelings were hurt because they saw me avoid taking some of their dish. And then, sometimes, well, actually, usually, I go back for seconds. Now, if I notice that there's a dish there with very little taken as compared to all the other dishes, I go ahead and take a great big helping of that. I mean, how would you feel if you felt your dish was not as popular as the other dishes that were brought to that event? I care. Second, I tend to be a bit of a perfectionist. Now, if I see some leftover chocolate cake in a pan and it's cut all crookedly, it bothers me. I try to fix it so it'll look nice in the pan. If there's a piece sticking out, I take my knife and I just cut it and eat it. Or if it's cut unevenly, kind of slanted that way, it bothers me. I cut it nice and straight and eat it. Oh no, now look at it. It's slanted the other way. What am I to do? It also bothers me when somebody will have a little helping of leftover food in this big dish. It just doesn't seem right. I mean, I will go and choose the perfect size for that leftover. Well, almost. Perfect after I eat it. Third, as I am entering the senior years, I take pride in myself that I am a lifelong learner. I try to stay abreast of all the current trends, all the scientific advances, be aware and embrace them and be part of them. Well, one of those scientific advances that I found out about, Lycra and spandex. Yes, I've learned about them, and those fabrics are truly amazing. I found out that they're not just used at a gym. I thought stretchy materials, you wear them to the gym, but hey, I see girls and women out wearing them everywhere. So I thought, hey, get with it, Connie. I got those stretchy pants to try. You know what? They are amazing. When you expand, they expand. And they keep expanding. And then if they get stretched a lot, then the flab just kind of is pushed up and over the top. I must confess, I think what happens is, as we start to lose our fit and firm figures, it becomes flabby. We are tempted to hide it under our clothing choices. I am guilty. I confess I'm guilty of doing so. I just don't know. It's so difficult. On the one hand, I see these excuses are really, I think, positives. Being kind and caring. Being a perfectionist when it's needed. Being a lifelong learner. But those positives are turning into the negatives of making me lose that battle of the bulge.
Right, 45 seconds. Hope you know that. Potluck party had a little different meaning back in the 60s. For those who remember the 60s, for those who don't remember the 60s, you're better off. In fact, a lot of people from the 60s don't even remember the 60s. And that deals with food now. It did with food too, but they were just looking around midnight at Jack in the Box.
You want 30 seconds instead of 45?
Then we move us along, it gets me to Pasadena in time, sure.
Now we're at 28 seconds.
Okay, what do you think, I'm running out of words, things to say, or what?
Yeah.
I'm no longer
I'm a
funny.
little sleepy.
I'm no longer funny, huh? I'm no longer funny. It's just like, this is what you get when the audience are falling asleep on you. You know you're not funny.
I had 3 hours of sleep. But now we're at 48 seconds, so you're good.
Okay, we're good. All right. Our next speaker, Richard Schneider. Homer's first Toastmasters meeting. Homer's first Toastmasters meeting, Richard Schneider.
Howdy, fellow mooses. I was here tonight to talk about my first Toastmasters meeting. Brother Jethro done invited me to his Toastmasters club several times, and I was finally of the mind to oblige him. Well, I arrived at that thar meeting, and they lined up to greet me like I was a VIP or something. I was so glad Brother Jethro reminded me to dress up. I wore my Sunday best, I did. Heck, I wore socks and sandals for the occasion. Well, it weren't long after arriving that this man called the Sergeant at Arms came to the front of the room. He didn't look like no sergeant to me. He weren't even wearing a uniform. Well, this so-called sergeant said we all need to be seated on account he was going to introduce the president. Well, I was all excited. I never seen no president live before, only on the television. Well, this here president came to the front of the room, and he must have seen a bug, because he took out a mallet and he hit that table. Well, I guess he got the bug, because everyone started laughing. I was glad of that, because I sure don't like those bugs, especially those skeeters. Well, after that, someone from the audience rose and said we was all to bow our heads and pray. I looked for some victuals to pray over, but there weren't none. So I prayed for some victuals and a fast meeting. Well, after that, the president done looked right at me. I thought, oh boy, I'm in trouble now. He said I was to introduce myself. Well, heck, I already know who I was. But my neighbor said I was to say my name. Howdy, folks. My name's Homer. Like Homer Simpson, only tain't Simpson. It's Gibbs. Many years ago, I used to belong to this organization called Boy Scouts. We had this motto, be prepared. So I come to this here Toastmasters meeting prepared to give a toast. Well, they looked at me as if I must have been out of my mind. I think it's because I didn't bring enough whiskey to share with everyone. Well, after that, it was time the president introduced the Toastmaster. That was a real head scratcher. I thought these all Toastmasters. Well, this special Toastmaster introduced the first speaker, an icebreaker. I was all excited. I was finally going to get a chance to drink. But you know what? That guy didn't break no ice. All he talked about was himself. And then a second speaker talked about her dream vacation. And then you know what those people did? They commenced to voting, like a convention or something. I was glad I brought some liquid refreshment. This looked like a long night ahead of politicking. Well, next it was time for what they call table topics. And I looked all around the table for something to talk about. There weren't nothing special. But a lady came up and she asked a couple questions, and the people came to the front and they talked for a minute or 2 minutes. And then she turned to me and asked if I'd like a question. Well, sure, I said, I don't want to be no party poop. My question was, well, what's in a name? Well, I walked to the front like I seen the others done, and I was thinking, what am I going to say? Well, we all has names. My name's Homer. Only, tain't my given name. When I was born, my parents called me Howard. Now that was okay until I got to 2nd or 3rd grade. I was supposed to fight this boy, but I refused on account he was older and bigger than me. Well, my classmates commenced calling me Howard the Coward. I didn't care none for that. But it weren't long after that, I was playing a game called baseball. I was supposed to hit this ball off on a stick they call a tee. So I hit it just as hard as I could, and it rolled through a player's leg, and I was running to first, and I went on to second, and then they threw the ball over the second man's head, and I kept running to third. And then the coach said, Howard, run home. So I run home. When I got home, pop, mighty upset. He said he was going to give that coach a piece of his mind. Well, the coach was laughing and laughing. He said it was all a big misunderstanding. But after that, he commenced to call me Homer. And it stuck. Well, my brother Jethro done learned me about a famous writer, old-time writer, named Homer. He wrote The Idiot and The Odyssey, but that was all Greek to me. Well, after that, it was time they called report card time. The most important part of the meeting, they said. I was pretty nervous, see. My report cards were never worth reporting about. Well, they called the couple they introduced as general evaluator. He must have been from that same outfit as that there sergeant. He weren't wearing a uniform neither. Well, this general, he introduced a couple of evaluators who talked about the speakers. And then they came to the grammarian. The grammarian gave a report. He talked about what the people said good and not so good. When he came to me, I wanted to hide. You can probably tell, my grammar ain't that good. My grammar ain't much better. That's another story. But he said, Homa, we're going to give you a break on the account you're a guest and all. Well, I was mighty glad of that. Well, the meeting was just about over, and they brought the president back to the front. He looked at me again and asked me to give comments on the meeting. Well, I couldn't think of much, but I said, everyone was real friendly. And if I ever come back to this year's Toastmaster meeting, I was going to have to bring some gloves. My hands are powerful sore from all that clapping. That day I went home and I did some studying. I found out Toastmasters, people get together and they practice public speaking. Don't they know that public speaking is one of man's greatest fears? I have a mind to invite them out next time I go snake cutting. Think they'll like that. Well, fellow mooses, I don't know if I was ever going to go back to Toastmasters again. But if and I do, I'm going to have to wear my special hat. The one with the alcohol in back, so I can take the drinks and not disturb the members. Well, as Pokey Pig would say, abadi, abadi. That's all, folks.
Okay, and that's a teacher, right?
Retired.
Now you understand the way your kids behave. Okay, that's 45 seconds, 30 seconds. What do you want? Good timer, you're in charge.
10 seconds.
Oh my goodness. You actually think these people think that fast?
I don't know. Do you think you can time? Yes. Yeah. How much time?
Longer the day, the shorter the mind. All right. Counting down.
45.
We're only down to 3 speakers hanging in there. We'll be okay.
33.
All righty. She's calling it 33. Speaker number 4, Roosevelt Young, going solo. Roosevelt Young, going solo.
Can you all hear me? Going solo. No, I don't mean in an airplane. But when I was starting my solo medical practice, sometimes it felt like I was flying by the seat of my pants.
I can't hear you, I really can't.
Oh, okay, thank
I
you.
would love for you.
Thank you, thank you. Well, fellow Toastmasters and distinguished guests, how many of you had to borrow money for your education? Or your children borrowed money? Lots of you. Well, when I finished my medical education and college and everything piling up, I was in so much student debt, I couldn't even afford to rent an office. Luckily, a nice hospital administrator let me have one of the rooms in the hospital to use as my office. It was the telephone closet. A little 5 by 5 foot room with wires hanging on the walls. And just barely enough room for me to fit one of those folding TV dinner trays from Walmart to use as my desk. I spent a lot of time at the hospital, but would return to the office whenever the telephone repairman came by. And I learned a lot from him. It helped me get my internet set up, and that was back in the early 90s, when it would have been very expensive and definitely beyond my reach. At the hospital, we would get together for lunch at the hospital cafeteria with the other doctors. But one day, at the entrance, it was blocked off by a big yellow tape that said, "Caution, do not enter." And I asked the medical director, Dr. Thompson, what happened? And he said, Roosevelt, and everybody else who was listening intently, the county health department closed the hospital cafeteria because of vermin in the kitchen. They can't serve in the cafeteria anymore. And I said, oh, yuck, cockroaches. He said, no, rats. I thought, oh, yuck. But I looked through this little glass window in the door, and I could see people back there cooking and working like they were in the kitchen, with steam coming up and plates clanking and everything. And I said, well, Dr. Thompson, he said, well, let me explain. The county health department can close the outpatient cafeteria, but the hospital food preparation for the patients upstairs is under Jacob, and they only do inspections every 5 years. So, fearing that my patients were gonna have rats for lunch, I ran upstairs really quickly and started making sure my patients were okay. Mrs. Smith, how are you feeling today? Oh, doctor, I'm still sick. I have no appetite. Good. Today. See you there. And that's how I started making house calls. With my little black bag and going door to door like the old-fashioned way. And the nurses at the hospital helped me. Some of them even started home health agencies. This was the mid-1990s when healthcare was moving away from expensive hospital care to more home-centered and outpatient care. The timing was perfect. I was lucky. And I really enjoyed making house calls. I got to know the patients, their families, their home setting. One day, a family called me to see their mom. She was elderly. The hospital had sent her home, supposedly with terminal Alzheimer's. They had given up on her, but the family wanted to hear just one more chance, if there was anything that could be done for the mom and grandma. I went to the house and found the old lady lying on the couch with her eyes closed, not even responding to her name. The TV was on, so I thought, well, I'll turn it off so there's some quiet, maybe she's trying to mumble. I grabbed the remote control and click, click, click. But instead of turning it off, I must have been pushing the wrong button because it just changed the channel. And then suddenly I hear, it's Cab Calloway. I look, and the old lady is sitting up with a big smile on her face, clapping and singing with a famous jazz singer on television. Well, hearing all the commotion, the family comes back in and says, Doctor, you saved our mama. You're a miracle worker. And I'm like, who, me? Well, it turned out that the lady actually had more depression, not really dementia. And she revived upon hearing old familiar songs and happy music. It was really mind-boggling how easy a solution could be when you really help somebody on their terms, at their level. I continued making house calls and also did telemedicine because I had some patients who were living too far away for me to make the house call and they didn't have money to come and see me. For example, Canadian hockey players with sports concussions that were not retired and getting dementia, or NFL football players, mostly living on the East Coast. So I also had to see them by telemedicine. Back then, sports concussion wasn't a recognized diagnosis. This was still the late 1990s. And telemedicine was not an acceptable method of care. That means insurance didn't cover anything. Patients had to pay out of pocket or couldn't pay me at all. But I still saw them. And eventually, sports concussion became recognized as chronic traumatic encephalopathy. And we all know during COVID, we all needed to see our doctor on telemedicine. And it was lucky that telemedicine was there. So my practice became really, really busy, but I enjoyed it. One day I saw a retired football player who was now an insurance agent. And on telemedicine, I followed my routine. He'd take off his shoes, his socks, and his shirt. And suddenly I noticed 3 young ladies looking through the glass wall. And I realized this guy's in his office. I apologized profusely, and he said, oh, that's okay, doctor. At least you didn't have to take off my pants, because they'd be calling the police right now. Well, going solo was not easy. But I stayed on my flight path, stayed on course, because I looked at the positive. And when challenged by changes, they became an opportunity to learn something new, to do something better for my patients. I hope that you will all follow that. And I'm sure if you look back at your lives, you'll have similar examples.
explained why the hospital food's so bad. I thought it was just me. At least the patient didn't tell her the rice were tasting better this time around. How are we doing on time? I know she's got down to 15 seconds pretty soon.
It's 18 seconds. I'll let you know when we're there.
Okay. We're running out of time here before I can get a chance to say a word. Oh, there's a, is it, oh, ready? Okay.
I don't know. What do you got? 33 seconds? 45 seconds? What do you want?
Yeah, they'll take as long as they can get.
45 seconds.
All right, that works. That's good enough. All right, speaker number 5, Edwin Edenhausen. Mama says, Edwin Edenhausen.
How many of you have fond memories of Halloween? You get to go out trick-or-treating, collect lots of candy, dress up in fun costumes. Well, I grew up in a home where my mom was very, very religious. And there's some people that their religion just does not allow them to celebrate Halloween. My mom was not one of them. Thank goodness. Now we got to go do Halloween, we could dress up any way you wanted, except not as a witch or a warlock. Those were instruments of the devil. Now, my mom also was very much opposed to magic. She thought anything magical that couldn't be explained was of the devil. So, of course, many of you maybe saw that my wife and I, we had to skip the magic show. No, George. I love magic. In fact, my middle daughter, her fiance, is a professional magician. We had grandparent duties. We had our kids over for Halloween and took care of them. My mom was a great woman in many ways, and for us, she was always trying to help us with Halloween by giving us costumes that were easy to make and didn't cost a lot because we were poor. The one costume that I loved, and I probably have this same costume, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, is the one that you can't use today. It's just not politically correct. What would that costume be? Anyone take a guess what costume you could not use today? It'd be terrible. Devil? Oh, I think you probably get away being the devil. I don't think too many people would be bothered about that. Whether they wear a costume or not, we know many people that are devil incarnate. I'm not talking politics.
Donald Trump.
I still didn't hear you. Trump! Oh, okay. You could probably wear that costume. I'm just going to tell you. A hobo! That's terrible! Because that's making fun of the temporarily unhoused individuals. But it was a fun costume to have. I enjoyed having it. Now, my mom was the type of person that if she didn't like something, it was okay for you to not like it. She didn't like certain foods, I didn't have to like it myself. She didn't like okra and liver and Brussels sprouts. Well, guess what I don't like? Okra and liver and Brussels sprouts. Now, hate was a very strong word, and it was actually a 4-letter word in my home, and we didn't use it very often unless we had real reason to use it. For example, there are the 3 R's that my mom hated, and Roosevelt mentioned them. Rats, roaches, well, she didn't say the 3rd R, Republicans! Now, I have to give my mom a break for this because she grew up in the Depression era and FDR was their savior. So they really weren't much into Republicans. But I'll tell you, the one thing my mom despised more than anything in the whole wide world was snakes! Snakes were the worst thing ever. And you know why? Because look in the Bible, the first chapter of the Bible, the first book of the Bible, what happened? Lucifer took the form of a serpent and flew down and tempted Eve with the fruit of knowledge of good and evil. Snakes were terrible. The only good snake, in my mom's opinion, would be a dead snake. And this was no more apparent than one day when we were coming home from church. My mama was the first one to spot it, setting itself there on the road, instantly just laying there, minding its own business, not hurting anybody. And my mama said, "George William, kill it!" Now, my daddy knew who wore the pants in the family, and it wasn't George William. So he knew what was good for him would be to follow what Mama said. So, of course, he swerved the car, and that poor snake, thump thump, ran right over it. Now, you think that'd be enough, but no, not from my mama. She said, "George William, kill it again!" So, George William dutifully put the car into reverse and thump thump over that poor snake. The mom was satisfied, and she said, "All right, George, we can go home now." And of course, thump thump on the way home. Now, I wanted to see what happened, so I jumped up in the back seat and flipped around and looked through that back window. And what I saw, Mama asked, she said, "Eddie, did we kill it?" Now, at this point, I had a little bit of a moral conundrum, because there was an opportunity for me to break 2 of the 10 commandments. Number 5 and number 9. Now, if you didn't grow up like me learning all the 10 commandments, I'll tell you, number 5 is honor thy father and thy mother, and number 9 was thou shalt not bear false witness. But I remembered that my mom had told me that you could say a little white lie if it was for the greater good. Example would be in Holocaust Germany. Of course, if they came pounding on your door and said, "Where are you hiding the Jews?" you would say, "We're not hiding any Jews." Well, that was okay. You weren't going to go to hell for that. And so, when Mama asked me, "Did we kill it, Eddie?" I said, "Yes, Mama, we killed it." Didn't have the heart to tell Mama. Well, I did give her a little white lie, because really I think it helped save that poor big brown stick.
Dad was wondering how you got a flat tire. It's on a steak. All right. Well, I tell you, Halloween was the best time of year for me, because my mom sent us out to the grocery bag. And then November was 1 month I didn't have to eat always just beans and rice. That chocolate candy, Snickers, and all kinds of things for dinner. Save money. My dad liked to save money too. All right. Are we on time?
28 seconds.
Oh my goodness. Time's just flying by. Seems like seconds ago it was only 25 seconds.
It's always Disneyland.
Okay. We'll talk about
You
this
live down there.
Yeah, it's my neighbor. We're not on good terms.
45.
All right, 45. Number 6, Ralph Dieter. My smile challenge, Ralph Dieter.
Are you smile challenged as I am? A smile is just a small gesture, but it can lead to joy, and it can promote health. It's a universal gesture that transcends all barriers. But sometimes it's a matter of culture. For example, Germans in the US are not thought of as being great smilers. But they smile, but they don't smile at the same time as we do. Now, my father had a great smile, but my mother was a serious person. And she didn't smile much. And she influenced me a lot. I've lived in Germany for some years of my life. And I was walking down the street and I saw this old lady. And I smiled at her. And she glared at me and said, "What are you up to?" So I really had a smile challenge. Think about it. You're in a Toastmaster speech contest. Imagine that. And they have a section, personal appearance. That's why I try to wear a suit. But when you can't smile, that may have actually led to them taking off points in that section for me. And try to go out on dates with the ladies when you can't smile. Well, I tried to smile, but they said I looked like Count Dracula. Can't win. So what do I do about this? I think I need smile rehab. Now, I've had some suggestions from friends. Like Chris Robles told me I should go and have plastic surgery and imprint a smile on my face. Oh, Chris, what do you think I am? A movie star? I don't have hundreds of thousands of dollars. I'm just a retired teacher. And besides, do I really want to look like the Joker? So what do? I go to a mirror and I practice smiling at the mirror. Or maybe I videotape my facial expression. Ooh. So, what am I going to do? Well, you know, not being able to smile can have a bad effect on your life. So, you really need to work on it. And if you work on it, maybe people can just be a little bit less judgmental. I mean, sometimes people just have unique expressions. Maybe they're just efficiently neutral. Or maybe, just maybe, they're the only sane person in a smile crazy world.
Okay, we're halfway there. How's that sound? Yay! Take those first 6 people you thought just hurt, make you laugh and tickle a bit. Give us about a couple minutes, down timer.
Yeah.
Take it over, like you felt they did. That way the next group you can kind of break that down. I remember as a father, when my daughter first started dating, one of the words I said to the young man when he came back said, I better not see you smiling when you bring her back. Or else. And as a father, you always answer the door with your sidearm. Baseball bat, hat that says, Louis Slugger. Meantime, I'll share a little story I heard the other day. Now listen, for all my blonde girlfriends, Suzanne, there was this blonde girl, she was driving down the highway, speeding along, and she got pulled over by a police officer, who happened to be a blonde lady too. Walks up to the lady and says, you're speeding, I can see your driver's license. And the blonde girl's driver says, what does the driver's license look like? The officer says, there was a little square thing with your picture on it. So she reaches the reverse and she's rooting around, she finds her little compact with a mirror. Square, yeah, there I am. Hands it to the police officer. Officer looks at it and says, oh, I didn't realize you were a police officer, you're free to go. Yeah, she was. A few blondes. That'll be a story in itself. 2 blondes walking down the street. I won't say anything else about that. I always get in trouble. I don't want any of the girls to get upset with me. Because I got one with dark hair, she likes me now. Because I don't have any jokes about colored hair either. Other than blonde. Oh, why do blondes get picked on all the time?
That's 2 minutes.
That's 2 minutes? Good. I'm running out. Okay, moving right along to our second group we got here. Our first speaker of the second group, and speaker number 7, Daryl Zeller. How to live a long or happy life. How to live a long or happy life. Daryl Zeller.
Mr. Toastmaster, ladies and gentlemen, I know that they say that with age comes wisdom. And if that is the case, I must be the wisest person in this. I know that some of you have constantly said that I'm smart because I keep hearing you people say, don't be such a smart blank. Now, if you happen to fill in that blank with a part of the anatomy, you just might be one of those people who called me that. But I am not smart enough to know that there's no way I will be able to talk about how to live a long life and a happy life in the amount of time that's allotted to me. Therefore, I'm going to talk about the first part. How to live a long life. The answer is simple. Just don't assume a horizontal position and discontinue the process of the respiratory system. You didn't get that. Don't die. Because dying is the #1 cause of death. So how do you keep from dying? Well, I'll tell you, there's statistics out there that will tell you this is the cause of death, or this is a major cause of death, or this is. They're wrong. Statistics don't lie. But we statisticians, we're human. And we can make stats say whatever we want to. And as a quasi-statistician, I'll tell you, I have come to a conclusion. The #1 cause of dying is stress. What is stress? There is good stress, which we welcome with open arms. And then there is bad stress. But what causes us stress? It's not what goes on around you. It's not what's going on in the political world. It is not what people say about you. It is something internal. It is the decisions that you make. And we make hundreds of decisions every day. Therefore, I decided as a young man, I didn't want to make any more decisions. 1 or 2 decisions, that's it. How can I do that? I can commit a crime and become incarcerated, and they will make the decisions for me. That's too confining. Well, they also told me that the military. Hey, wait a minute. If you join the military, they'll make all the decisions for you. Therefore, a few months later, here I found myself down at Lackland Air Force Base in boot camp. Heaven. They told me when to go to bed. They told me when to get up. They told me what to wear. They told me when to eat, when to go to marching, when to do this, when to do that. It was heaven. And then after a couple of weeks, they said, it is now time for you to decide what career field you want to be in. Me decide? I joined the military, so I wouldn't have to decide anything. But they said, okay, fine. You have 3 choices. Supply? That sounds like manual labor. Forget it. Personnel? Sitting at a desk and pushing paper all day? I don't know about that. Or chaplain services specialist? What's that? This is chaplain's assistant. What do you do? Well, they set me up with an interview with the chaplain. And during the interview, shortly thereafter, he said to me, what religion are you? I told him I was raised Lutheran. He wasn't Lutheran. And he proceeded to tell me, there is no place for you in this career field. You would not fit in. And he proceeded to dismiss me, tell me to go and pick one of the other choices that I had. I walked out of there, smiling, and I said, thank you, Father. You have just made my decision for me. I went back to the squadron and I said, I want to be a chaplain's assistant. Yes. He made my decision. And then a few weeks later, we were getting ready to go to tech school. They had all of us just pack up our gear in our duffel bags and head out over to tech school. And once again, it's heaven. Here's when you get up, here's when you go to bed, here's when your classes are, here's when you go to chow, etc. Wonderful. And then they told us, in the last week of class, they were going to come up and tell us what bases we could go to, and we would need to make a decision as to which base we'd have to. Decisions again, oh my. Oh, wait a minute. My last name is Zeller. Everything in the military is done by alphabet. I won't have to make a decision. I would just take what's left. And then they came up with the assignments. And they said, Airman Zeller, we're not going to do it the way they did it you're used to. We're doing it by your standing in class. You have the first choice. Another decision. They told me I wouldn't have to make any more decisions. What can I do? Oh, wait a minute. I've also heard that if you get married, every man who ever gets married doesn't ever get a chance to make another decision in his life. Here I stand, 64 years later, saying to you, when will I ever learn? Hundreds of thousands of decisions, when will I ever learn?
All right, give us another 30 to 45 seconds. Want to hear 45 seconds in the last 30 seconds? 2. Oh, goodness. Military or marriage, that's a tough decision. Either way, you're going to die.
It's just how long it takes.
Yeah.
Actually, still sitting beside me.
Yeah, well, you got your hands on around your neck there.
She's a saint.
At least in the military, you get a chance to shoot back. All righty, here we go. Next speaker. Martha Enhausen. There's two of them. Martha Enhausen. 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun. 2 all beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, on onions, and on a sesame seed bun. Martha Enhausen.
Apparently, I'm called a sandwich child. At first I was like, excuse me? Do I look like a child? Or a sandwich? I mean, I do love a good sandwich. And I certainly wouldn't mind being sandwiched between a Reuben and a Cuban. Hey, on a subway, of course. And I wouldn't mind taking a hot French dip with a beefy Italian. Ooh, is it getting a little toasty in here? Wait, I wanted to keep this clean, so no mile-high Dagwoods or sloppy joes. In reality, I have been married 43 years. Yes, 43 long years to the same ham, man. You might call me a one-manwich woman. We are like peanut butter and jelly. Naturally, I am the sweet one, and he is the nutty one. Now, back to the sandwich child thing. It means I am from the generation that is stuck in the middle between my grown children and aging parents. As for those grown children, there is no loafing around. You are going to need a bushel of bread because you're going to find yourself rolling out a lot of extra dough. And as for those aging parents, let's just say you better butter up those grown children because your turn's a coming. Now I know, just take it with a grain of salt. There is a seasoning for everything. Now, we may not relish our current choices, but we can choose to hummus a little tuna. Now, I wanted to sing that, but my singing stinks like sardines. So let's just move on. Speaking of moving on, our house has a revolving door. When one kid moves out, with a little help, another moves in with extras and all their condiments. You could call our house the Airbnb of the In-N-Out burger joint. Some days I feel like I'm a pickle stuck in the middle, surrounded by a bunch of bologna. But honestly, there are days when I feel strong like Wonder Bread Woman. My body is built strong 12 ways. And then other days, I feel like a heel. I am at the bottom end of everything. As much as I've mustered, I just can't catch that. And that, my friends, makes me pretty grilled. I I feel like a hardened, charbroiled burger. Hardened on the outside, and yet, hopefully, I am still soft and warm somewhere on the inside. You could say I am just one enormous, rolled up hot mess. I'm stuffed, overfilled, and bursting out the sides. But hey, I gotta keep on cooking with Crisco, because it's a grinder out there. Now as for my husband, bless his heart, he's a poor boy. He really does try to keep us all together. Now, he may not be cooking on all four burners. But after all these years, he's still my hero. Would I trade any of it? Admittedly, yes. I might substitute some of it. After all, we are a bit deconstructed. But at the end of the day, I wouldn't stack it up any other way. And that's a wrap.
I've been married for 43 years. Wow. That's as long as I've been single. And Ralph wants to know why I always smile.
Did your wife know you're single?
Yeah, she knew about that a long time ago. Moving along, we got our 30 seconds going still.
Yeah.
Alrighty. What is it with the girls and food jokes here? Notice a trend. We gotta move that clock faster and run out of material.
You still got 5 seconds.
I have 5 seconds? Let me tell you a long joke in 5 seconds.
45.
I tried to. Next speaker, Erlinda Risa. Believe it or not, Erlinda Risa.
Believe it or not, fellow Toastmasters and other guests, growing up, I thought that my mother was a witch doctor. You heard me, a witch doctor. So I'm going to share with you some of the remedies, the techniques that she had to keep us safe at home. Let's start with her chicken soup. Everybody here makes chicken soup, right? Well, my mother must have added something into her pot, because I didn't realize until later that chicken soup every Sunday is what helped keep our household healthy. We're 6 of us, my parents and 4 children. We never went to the doctor for anything because we were healthy. And I'm so glad it wasn't poison. She could cure almost anything. My brother ended up with an earache. And I don't know if this technique you guys all know, but it was strange to me. My mother was upset because he had an earache, and then she blamed it on the chlorine at the swimming pool. So she told my brother, sit down, don't move. She rolled up a piece of newspaper and made it like a comb. She put the paper in her ear, in his ear, and I thought, that's odd. Well, then she got a match and she lit the top, and so it starts burning. And in a few seconds it went poof, and there's sparks all over the kitchen, and I'm scared. You know, the house is gonna get fired. And then my mom threw the paper down on the ground, and she did her Indian fire dance. It was a miracle that the house didn't burn. And my brother's hair went poof, gone. He was fine. At 13, my mother thought it was time for me to learn how to iron. I was ironing pillowcases, Kleenex, not Kleenex, handkerchiefs. Handkerchiefs. It's been so long. And dish towels. And my mother told me, don't you dare open the front door because you're ironing. Okay, Mom, okay, but why? Because your face will get deformed. Now that didn't make no sense to me, but I wasn't going to try it. 2 months ago, I was in Mexico and I brought this subject up. And one of my nieces, she says, no, it's real, it happened to me. I just wasn't thinking, and I opened the door after ironing and my face went, and she said it took months for her to get her lip back up. She was doing it. Exercises for that. One time my mother called me. I was pregnant with my second child and she called me at work. She said, Mija, there's going to be an eclipse today. Put some metal in front of your tummy. I said, oh, Mom, here we go again. Okay, Mom, okay. I wasn't going to do it, but somebody told me, you better do it. You better do it. So I got my car keys and I tied it around my belly. Years later, nothing happened. My child was fine. Years later, I went to visit a cousin in Nevada, and they had a child that was born the same time my Alex was born, and he was missing his hand. He just had a stump. And I said, so what happened? She goes, oh, I was so dumb. I didn't protect myself during the eclipse. Can you believe that or not? Now, my daughter was really sick one day, and my mom said, I'll take care of her. I said, no, Mom, you're not touching her. I'm going to take her to the urgent care. She says, quítate, quítate. Move out of the way. I'm going to take care of her. Okay. She goes to the kitchen. She gets a raw egg. And she rubs it all over the baby's body. All over, up and down, oh, just all over. Then she cracks the egg in a bowl, and she puts a cross on it. She gets 2 sticks, usually from the broom, you know, and she cracks it in half and she puts a cross on the egg. She puts it under the bed. The baby stops crying, but now she's got a fever. So I let it go, I let it go. As long as it didn't get too hot, I was okay with it. In the morning, the fever was gone. She comes in the room, gets the bowl, shows it to me, and I said, oh, pouch steak. Any breakfast, anybody? The egg actually got cooked. There was a time I had weak ankles, and I was always getting twisting my ankle. The cure for that was she would rub something ugly. I don't know if it was car oil or grease or whatever it was, but it was the trick to this, to getting it well, was my dad had to take off his underwear, and she wrapped it around my ankle, and then she secured it. And in the morning, oh, I was back. So believe it or not, that was my life, and that would explain why I'm such a wacko.
Yeah, believe it or not, I relate to what she says. My dad was from Mexico, my mom's parents were from Mexico, and we used to spend every Christmas in that third world country during my vacation from school for the holidays, and they have got some strange habits over there, and I was difficult to follow through on. Yeah, I think when I was little, I got sick in what's called Her name was Tia Chona. His aunt in Spanish, if I recall. And from what I remember, she was always old. This lady was old from day one. And the traditions was unusual because her husband passed away and she wore black every day, no matter what. And every morning before we woke up, she was already come back from church. Dedication and a firm belief how they thought. So the story sounds familiar. Okay, our next speaker, Brian Boras. A lovely trip to the zoo. A lovely trip to the zoo. Brian Boras.
How many of you love animals? Raise your hand. You love animals? All right. I lost. I lost your vote. I lost your vote. I lost your vote. You're gonna hate this. It all starts with me and my previous girlfriend, Elena. A day like any other, we planned a lovely trip to the zoo. My first unwise mistake was buying Elena her favorite snack, a large box of chili cheese fries. Now, most of you might know the difference between wisdom and knowledge. Knowledge is knowing that tomatoes are a fruit. Wisdom is knowing tomatoes don't go in fruit salad. You know what a kiwi is? The little bird, not the fruit. Well, today I learned kiwis don't go in chili cheese fries. We go to the petting part of the zoo, and one of the little suckers jumps out of my hand and lands in Elena's chili cheese fries and starts throwing them all over the place. And all I could think was, rats. Literally rats start coming out of the corners in the tracks and picking up chili cheese fries off the ground. Now my girlfriend, she's a spicy Latino woman, and she went, adios mios, and she started screaming. Now I don't speak Mexican. It's so funny. But I attack. I pick up the rat. I pick it up, and like a baseball pitcher, I spot a nearby furnace that heats one of the exhibits, and I turn that thing into ratatouille. I chuck it, it explodes. It was beautiful. In self-defense, of course. What I didn't know is what it would do to the vampire bats upstairs. Y'all know vampire bats? Picture this, sleeping in uncomfortable positions, waking up in the dead of the night and prowling the streets to bite the necks of virgins. These are things I do on a daily basis. Now, about vampire bats. Vampire bats. Let it out. That's it, let it out. Vampire bats, they're very skittish creatures. They have very sensitive hearing, so the explosion and my girlfriend screaming, they freak out. The zookeeper runs in to let the vampire bats let themselves in to check out the bats, see what's going on. But in a panic, they click the wrong button, and they let out a different creature. Cage opens, like it's Jurassic Park, and a 400-pound feline starts walking out of its pen into the surrounding public. The tiger. Vulnerable to citizens. All of a sudden, like it's Vietnam, they call a sniper down from the trees. He's hanging down with a rifle to tranquilize this thing. He shoots it, one hit lands in its head, it's still going. He shoots it again, it's still going, true story. Shoots it again, and it falls, collapses to its side, and the public decides to take action. Right? They're protecting their kids, they're protecting their family. So a man takes an aluminum bat from a nearby sales store and he charges with the public, and they run over and they beat the crap out of this tiger. It was like nothing you've ever seen. Every single bone inside Tony the Tiger became frosted flakes. And they're not great. The crowd recedes. And as we stand there in shock, a 6'5" African-American basketball player walks out, picks up the tiger's pelt, nothing but a carpet, and he chucks it 50 feet through the air and landed in a nearby crocodile exhibit. You ever play that game Hungry Hungry Hippos as a kid? That's what it looked like. It's taking bites off of it. It looked like if a Asian family got desperate and started consuming the family house cat. I can say that. I'm half Japanese. I'm also half German. I'm the best thing to come out of World War II, baby. Let's go! Security is in a frenzy, total frenzy. They start announcing, "This is not a drill, please leave the zoo. We will be closing in 30 minutes. Elena says, "Dang it, I really want to see the orangutan." And I thought to myself, well, if you wanted to see a lanky creature wielding a banana, we could have just gone back to my place. 30 minutes, that's enough time to see the monkey. We stroll on over, and Elena, still snacking on her chili cheese fries, gets way too close to the monkey, and it flips them into her face, turning my Latina girlfriend into literal chili con carne. It didn't give me an appetite. It gave me a sense of revenge. All I could think was, get your monkey hands away from my woman. And I step up to the cage, and I slap the crap out of that ape. It reaches back through. It slaps me back, appropriately. That's all you got? You put the pansy in chimpanzee. I slap it again. It slaps me back. This thing, I'm not joking, it was Floyd Mayweather. And I was his wife. You know, we were supposed to evolve from primates, right? We're supposed to be efficient and advanced. Well, I think we went backward. I no longer believe in evolution. That thing hit me. I got on my knees and I started praying. I turned to Jesus immediately. "Thank you, God. Please give me the wisdom to something about the sinner's prayer." And I converted successfully. And I retreated with my girlfriend Elena before I got banned from another zoo. Now, whatever happened to Elena? We're not together anymore. She ate one too many chili cheese fries. She was still attractive gravitationally to the center of the earth. I apologize for making a fat joke. I'm trying to cover a wide range of humor, almost as wide as Elena. And while I would love to continue, you keep laughing too much. And I'm running out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, a lot of animals were harmed in the making of this speech.
Alright. The zoo story. I want to know what he found the purchase. In our second story going by, we'll try to start that long joke. It's too late now. Maybe at the end. I think we're ahead of time schedule-wise. You guys are doing an excellent job. Our time is doing an excellent job. Keeping us on track. I'm doing a terrible job of keeping the audience alive and awake. But that's okay. If I yell loud enough, maybe you'll stay awake? Possibly. Maybe not. I don't know. We'll find out. Countdown. 10, 9, 8, 7,
5, 4,
3, 2, 1. Nobody's glad tonight and sit down, huh? We'll finally shut him up. Some funny person up here. Okay, our next speaker. Getting down to the wire, ladies and gentlemen. Bon Wang, a spooky road on Wang.
There are many country roads in Riverside County. And for many healthcare employees commuting between Loma Linda and Moreno Valley, they all know a road that is called the Red Canyon Road. Well, Red Canyon Road is a typical canyon road. It's full of sharp turns, blunt curves, cliffs, and guess what? A lot of wild donkeys, right? They call them the burros in Spanish. And these burros are protected by law. As many hospital employees living in Moreno Valley, they use that road as a shortcut to Loma Linda for work. So the road is so busy. The rate of car accidents is very high. It's reported that over the years, many people, and of course, the burros were killed on that road. So truly, it has won the name of a spooky road. Good afternoon. So now you must be wondering, why the heck do I know this road? That is because in 2019, For almost a year, I drove on this road in the dark. In that year, I joined a Toastmasters club that is called Donbusters. Anybody heard of Donbusters? You must. This club is known of its unique meeting time. They meet at 6:50 a.m. every Friday morning. Yes, you heard me right. 6:50 a.m. But not only that, when I joined that club, they had another tradition. They would assign the new members to pick up their club honored member. Guess who that was? Jimmy Ford. Anybody heard about Jimmy Ford? Jimmy was truly a District 12 legend. He was the club member for 50 years, more than 50 years. And when I met him, Jimmy was late 80s, half blind, and struggling with Alzheimer's disease. Jimmy lived in Grand Terrace, right at the start of the Red Canyon Road. So every Friday morning, about 5 a.m., I pick up Jimmy. I drove us through the Canyon Road to our meeting place. Now you can picture this. The winding road, total darkness, steep cliffs, and headlights hitting us from the opposite lane. My eyes locked on the road all the time. I was so nervous. You know, any shadow could knock my heart out of my chest right away. And normally at this moment, Jimmy would break the silence. Spoken, huh? Then suddenly he was like, burros! He wanted to remind me the wild donkeys. I just freaked out. That 15 minutes on the Canyon Road felt like forever. You know, at that moment, I just joined the Toastmasters. My fear of public speaking or everything still fresh. But in that morning, my fear was doubled by the dark road and the meeting ahead of me. But I think I was lucky. Because I got Jimmy. He sat next to me, kept talking about the Toastmasters in the 1970s, about how he lost an eye right on the same road while driving to the club meeting. So later on, after the meeting, some other fellow members would offer to drive Jimmy home. So I didn't have to do it. The in-person meeting went on for about a year. Then the pandemic hit, and Jimmy stopped attending. The next time I heard about Jimmy, already a few years later, the news was Jimmy had passed away. So turns out, although I drove on Red Canyon Road for almost a year, but never once did I drive in the broad daylight. Interesting, huh? But that was until one day in 2023. I was driving back home from Redlands, and Google Maps sent me to a detour. Suddenly, the road felt so familiar. Guess what I see? Burrows everywhere. And then you know how I felt the first time I drove in the daylight? I was terrified because I saw everything so clearly. The narrow road, steep cliffs, the crazy drivers. That road is famous of crazy drivers and the burrows everywhere. Then suddenly I really miss Jimmy, you know. I miss the mornings when he sat next to me, kept talking. I remember one of the mornings, I asked him, "Hey Jimmy, how come you drove on this road for 50 years?" And he said, "Simple, you just keep going. Now you feel this road too long. But guess what? 50 years feels too short for me, so you must keep going." You know, at that moment, I didn't know what to say to Jimmy, but I think now I know it. I want to tell him this. Hey Jimmy, now I know it. Fears don't live on the road, even it's a spooky road. They live here in your heart. So when you face your fears, and you keep going, and if you are lucky, you got someone like Jimmy sitting next to you, then what scares you is just a shadow. Mr. Toastmaster.
All right. Talking to my cousins, the donkeys, huh? Hey, I didn't think they were that popular. We're down to the wire. The last 30 seconds, then we're going to break out to a longer session for you. Like to mark things this way. We got one more to go. So hang in there. We're almost there. Actually, we're ahead of schedule. It looks like my clock. So you have to be stuck with me for longer than you want it to be. A little fun. I still have that long joke, I promise you. And I have a few other little puns I want to share with you, but I got to check the room for something. I got to double check something. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Mommy, are we there yet?
5 more seconds.
Who's driving this bus? There we go. Last but not least, as they say, which is a common phrase, Marianne Zeller, you never know what comes out of the mouths of babes. You never know what comes out of the mouth of babes. Marianne Zeller.
How many of your grandparents out here love? How many of your grandparents out here love being? How many of your grandparents out How many of your grandparents out there love being grandparents? Well, I know when I became a grandma, I loved it. And I didn't realize, though, that my grandkids would have history about me that I didn't know. My granddaughter, Patty E. Ann, was going to school out at Edwards Air Force Base, was in the 4th grade. And she called me one night and she said, Grandma, I need some help. I need some information because I have to do a speech in school. I said, okay, what do you need to know? She said, well, tell me about the time when you were in that big boat that sunk in the ocean. And how did you get rescued? I said, what boat? She goes, well, Grandma, it was a ship. Don't you remember? It was called the Titanic. Oh my Lord. Daddy. Okay, let me think about this. Well, Daddy, I was standing on the bulwark out in front of the ship as it went sinking into the ocean. And I looked, and the big waves coming at me. And I thought, what am I going to do? She goes, but Grandma, she says, didn't you have someone there to rescue you? I said, no, I rescued myself. I looked down, and there was this cute little dolphin swimming by the boat. And I jumped into the water, and I caught its fin, and it swam me all the way to the shores of San Diego. Oh, Grandma, I'm so proud. I said, yeah, it was a nice little guy. So she said, I can do this now and take him to school. I said, yeah, you do that. Well, I'm learning history about myself. Then, a couple of weeks, now Patty's graduating and have 2 kids of her own. Well, we went to Texas a few weeks ago for my other grandson's wedding. My other grandson from South Carolina came out with his 4 little ones and his wife. And then we rented a car and we drove out there. Well,
I went out around the house where they were renting to wait for the wedding, and the 4 little ones were in the swimming pool. So I sat down beside on a rock and watched them. Pretty soon, Mackenzie, who is 4 years old, going on 5, came out, sat down beside me. She goes, "Grandma, I'm so glad to see you again." I said, "Hi, Mackenzie." I said, "I just saw you a few months ago in South Carolina." She goes, "I know." She says, "I wish you could go swimming with me." I said, "What do you mean?" She goes, "I wish you could get in the swimming pool with me, but I know you're scared." I said, "Why am I scared of a swimming pool?" And now, mind you, I mean, this is a different great-grandkid. And she said, "Well, Grandma, I know what happened to you." I said, "What do you mean, what happened to me?" She goes, "Well, you know," she says, "you can't go in the pool, I know you're scared." I said, "I can't go in the pool because I gotta keep my hair nice for the wedding." Well, then her brother, who's 10 years old, Cooper, came out. And he goes, "Hi, Grandma," and gave me a big kiss. I said, "Hi, Cooper, how you doing?" He goes, "Oh, she's telling you about why you can't go in the swimming pool, can you?" I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Because we know what happened to you." I went, "Okay, who you been talking to?" And he says, "Well, you know, when you guys came out this last summer, and Auntie Dawn and you and I played cards." And I went, "Okay, just wait till I get back to California." I said, "My daughter's gonna love this. She's not gonna love seeing Mommy come home." So yeah, no, I didn't really sing on the Titanic, believe me. I mean, I know I'm old, but not that old. Anyway, my other grandson was there with his dad, and he had rented this great big truck, pickup truck. So when we went out to get into the car, I couldn't even get up onto the seat, it was so high up. I said, "I can't get up there." So my grandson was 19, came around, picked me up, sat me up in the seat. And I said, "You know what, we're gonna use an our rented car to go to the wedding tomorrow." And he goes, no, you can ride with us." I said, "No," I said, "I can't get up there with the dress on." He goes, "Don't worry." So the next day, they came up and said, "Ready to go?" I said, "We're gonna go in the rented car." He goes, "Don't worry about it." So we went down from the hotel, went outside, all these people standing around. They had the pickup truck sitting there, that big one. I went, He goes, "Don't worry, Grandma, I bought you an early Christmas gift." He went around the back of the truck, opened it up, came back around. He had a stepladder. He said, "This is your early Christmas gift for you." He said, "Now you can take it home too and use it when you go and get dishes out of the cupboard." I said, "Thank you, DJ. I really got to need this." Grandkids, great grandkids. What can you say? Can't live with them, can't live without them. You still love them.
There we go. According to the agenda, it says pause. Doesn't say for how long though, it just says pause.
The orange ones.
And now it says call for votes. So this time, please place your votes together. They'll come around with the basket.
Point of order.
Oh, timer's report, that's correct. She didn't remind me either.
All right. Okay, congratulations, everyone qualifies. So we have Cora Garnay, Adventures in Babysitting, 6 minutes, 36 seconds. Connie Jameson, Excuses, 6 minutes. Richard Schneider, Homer's First Toastmasters Meeting, 7 minutes, 13 seconds. Rosabelle Young, Going Solo, 7 minutes. Edwin Eddinghausen, Mama Says, 6 minutes, 34 seconds. Ralph Dieter, My Smile Challenge, 5 minutes, 47 seconds. Daryl Zeller, How to Live a Long or Happy Life, 6 minutes, 48 seconds. Martha Eddinghausen, 2 all-beef patties, special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, and onions on a sesame seed bun, 5 minutes, 30 seconds. Erlinda Reza, Believe It or Not, 6 minutes, 18 seconds. Brian Porres, A Lovely Trip to the Zoo, 6 minutes, 25 seconds. Bond Wang, A Spooky Road, 6 minutes, 52 seconds. Mary Ann Zeller, You Never Know What Comes Out of the Mouth of Babes, 6 minutes, 24 seconds. All right.
All right, I'll round the hands for our timer. I've got to get a tough job from trying to watch the clock the whole time listening to the speech. I'm just sit back for about 5 minutes. Okay, now we move along. I mentioned I would share a few of the stories with you, but I got to double check the audience first. This is for adults only. Young lady, what's her name? You're over 18, right? Don't want to get accused of delinquency, you know, to a delinquent there. But no, that's, you know, I have the reputation, I don't know how I got it, but they tell me a male chauvinist.
Yay!
Yeah, and when you get your ballots, hold up so they can collect that while you're at it. Yes?
Question, do we vote, are we voting for one person?
You're voting for one person, one name only. One name only. One vote.
Just vote for the best.
Just vote for the person you thought did the best.
Yeah,
Your
Okay?
favorite.
Your favorite humorous speaker. Okay? So I mentioned before that I was accused of being a male chauvinist. Now, I'm not sure how I got the reputation. But it seems whenever I meet women, they always have something to say to me. And I remember one time I was at the car wash in my little pickup truck, and I saw this attractive girl in her car, and I walked over and said, "Hi, how you doing?" And all she said to me is, "My boyfriend has a vet." And I said, "Well, so does my dog." At a restaurant, I met this young lady, I was talking to her, and she, again, called me a Neanderthal. I go, "Wow, thanks for the compliment." She goes, "Compliment? What do you mean by compliment?" Well, my understanding Neanderthal on the dictionary says a person who runs and walks erect. I might have to check her ID, make sure she's over 18. So I promised you a long and funny joke, but I don't have one, but I do have a true story. I used to jog a lot before the elastic pants came out. And I was on the beach one day, going down the beach, jogging along, and I see some shiny object in the sand by the water. And I pick it up. And I go, "Wow, look at this. Nice little bottle. A little bit of sand on it, a little dirty, so I dust it off like you would. And once you know it, it's true. Poof! A genie comes out. Whoa! And all these years I've heard these stories, I never thought it was true, but it was. This genie comes out. And this genie says to me, "You get one wish, not 3, just one. And this one's special because I've been in that bottle for thousands of years, and this is the last wish I have to grant. Once this is granted, I am free from the bottle forever to live a normal life as a human being." So give it good thought. So I started thinking, you know, I've never been to Hawaii, but I'm afraid to fly. So I want you to build me a freeway from Newport Beach to Hawaii. Janie shakes her head, looks at me. So you don't realize, I just can't snap my finger and have a freeway pop up. It'll raise suspicion, people will start asking what's going on. It just can't happen. In the months it would take to do that, it just wouldn't work out. Think of something else, something you really want to know about. So I gave it more thought. And one question came to mind, since I am a male chauvinist. I've always wondered, just how does a woman think? Jeannie looks over her eyeglasses at me and says, "How many lanes on that freeway do you want?" Yeah, we got all our ballots collected. I'm assuming our ballot counters are left the room. We have a few minutes, not a whole lot. I guess you want to interview or you want to just move along? Tom, it's your party.
Yeah, talk to them real fast.
Okay, let's bring them up. Oops. bring in order that I had. Let's get our first 6 up here. That would be Cora, Connie, Richard, Roosevelt, Edwin, and Ralph. Come on up. Now, it's got to be quick. Can't be another speech, okay? You know, Toastmasters already asked them a silly question, so hey, give me an answer to what's 2 and 2, and they go on like a 3-minute conversation. 2 and 2, if you think about it, if you actually wonder what they are, there's 2 single things that are actually make a 2. So if you add the 2, no, I just wanted an answer. Okay, so let's start out with Cora. Okay, Cora, you gotta be kidding me. Tell us how you got on that story.
Tell me.
How you came up with that story?
It actually happened. It's a true story. And they still love me.
All right, well, my kids are still alive, right?
It is, she's still alive.
Okay, good. I guess you did all right. Yeah. Connie Jameson? I've got, more excuses than I need to know, but go ahead. Tell us about how you came up with the idea. It was excuses?
They are very true. And I do that. I remember with that cake, cutting it and then making it a little bit more straight. Yes. Oh, I see some people do the same thing. True story.
So you weren't cutting the pot up? The weed pot, or is it? Oh, good. Richard, my favorite teacher. Homer? Seriously, is this one of your class teachers that you do?
What's the question? Oh, of course, I'm a big ham, like Edwin, of course. That's how you keep students' attention. So I think we all have a little Homer in us, or something in us. So Homer is, I've just been waiting to get out for a long, long time. I gotta put it back though.
All righty. This is not Roosevelt, part of my list, this is Edwin, but Roosevelt's on the end. You got the wrong spot there, Roosevelt. That's okay. Come on up. Now, this is the kind of doctor I want when they tell us calls.
Tell us about the fact that
This is what I found interesting. I got a doctor who says, I'm so broke, I don't know what to do. And now you should be your doctor.
Well, the way I came up with the story, I wish I could brag about what a vivid imagination and how creative I am, but I'm not. It all actually happened. And I think through my mom especially, I learned to look at the positive when things go bad. And that's what kept me going. Times were tough. It's a true story.
All right. Yeah, I'm not creative either. Okay, let's go ahead with Edwin. Mama says, which mama are you talking about? Not the one that's sitting here.
No, not Mama Sia. Now, my mama says that having a pet snake would be the epitome of sinfulness. I now own 6 pet snakes.
All right.
I killed Mike.
Killed Mike? There it is. All right, it's back alive. Ralph.
Hi.
Smile, will you? Tell us about how do you come up with that funny story about smiling.
Yeah. I mean, people always thought that I was angry or something, and I said, no, this is just my normal face. No, I mean, I think people smile too much.
I don't know how many times I've been told to smack the smile off your face by my parents. Usually after I did something. Go ahead, thank you much. I got Cora wants to share her picture. This is proof of life.
This is
okay?
proof of life. This is her when she was just over a year old. That's her mom. Baby, Lady Noel, my goddaughter. That's me. Her as a grown-up woman, finished college, got married, and her son Kobe. So proof of life, true story.
All right,
Thank you.
turn that out after the validity was done. This thing finally died on us.
Maybe we need to do battery.
Yeah, I'm messing up my thumb. All right, let's get Darryl or Martha up here. Yep, Orlando, Brian, Vaughn, and Mary Ann.
as young as this thing must be dying. As long as you've been alive, Daryl, which hasn't been very long, tell us how you came up with this whole story.
Actually, I just turned around and said, my daughter turns around and calls me sarcastic all the time, so I figured, well, I might as well go ahead and come up with something that proves her to be right.
There you go. I know one of my lessons my father told me, yeah, he's dying. One of my lessons my father told me years ago is the nice thing about getting old is that you can, he put it this way, piss people off, and by the time they get revenge, you're already dead. All right, Martha. More food. I love your play on words. We're guys again.
That is what happened. I was tricked. About 6 months ago, one of our Toastmaster members had a comedy workshop. And I thought, oh, I'll go join her. It'll be fun. I'll just go for the food. Here I am today.
Great play on words. I'm really grateful. We are definitely dying on the battery here. Okay. Tell us about, okay, you got, believe it or not.
Yeah, believe it or not, I still, there's some memories that are going to stay with me forever. And those are the ones that come home.
I agree with you. I was in Mexico for years and it was always an interesting story. Right. Anyway, okay, our animal killer. First question, do you have any pets?
No. Son, testing my voice. I'm not allowed to have pets. I have changed my ways. Alright, and when I was talking, I was thinking of getting a pet snake. Because they only eat, what, once a month, once every 2 weeks, right? I can't have pets. This one time I had a goldfish, his name was Destiny Child. I bought him an automatic feeder, and he starved. So I can't have pets.
Alrighty, let's go.
No for a goldfish.
Alright, that works. Okay, Bond. The donkey killer.
Firstly, it's true story. Secondly, it's not first time I'm giving this speech. Actually, I'm representing Club 1439. We meet in Corona. So we have a tradition in this club. We have the Halloween party every year. We've been running this for a couple of years, 4 or 5 years. And at every Halloween party, I am giving a Halloween speech. This speech is a Halloween speech. And last week, Sandy called me, hey, you are going to this fall festival. I said, okay, I'm going. Maybe I can do something more than just helping. So I did this speech. Thank you for this opportunity.
I like Marianne's speech. I have a granddaughter, and I'll tell you, yours just talks about your history. Mine just embarrasses the heck out of me. She dressed up as a princess the other day, as I was babysitting. She dresses as a princess, and I get to put on a little headpiece of some sort and 2 pom-poms, and I follow her, sure lighting behind the princess as she marches around the parking lot of the condo. Good old man doing that. Anyway, tell us about your grandparents.
I got a bunch of them, and they're all crazy like my husband, Miss Ellis. 64 years with one guy, so I'm still alive. So, and I wasn't on the Titanic, I promise. But, yeah, no, I got a good life, and I love my grandkids and great-grandkids, and just blessed and happy that I do have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. That can be a lifelong work of stories with grandkids, as many as you have. Well, it's been a pleasure being your host today in this unofficial, official. Of course, the timer report doesn't matter because we're not following the C rules, the rule of C's, whatever the content is thing they talk about. C-word. C-word. So with that, thank you very much. We'll start wrapping things up. I'll return and control the meeting to okay. Well, it says, well, it doesn't say anybody. It says Sarah. This says trophies and awards. Sarah, okay. Ready for Sarah's awards? Sarah?